Hi there, I'm Birgit O'Connor and welcome to my studio. Now today I thought it would be a lot of fun to show you how to paint a very simple little owl. Basically what it is an oval with a half circle on top and two big eyes, and our focus is going to be working with our brush strokes and having lost and found edges. And what that means is that we'll have a crisp line on one side and a soft line on another. I think you're going to have a lot of fun, so let's go ahead and get started. For this project, we'll be doing a baby owl, and we're going to be focusing on lost and found edges. And if you notice, here we have the edge of some brush strokes, and in these areas, I added a little water, which dissolves that little edge, so it looks a little more downy. Now, basically, what we're going to do is have a circle upon an oval and keep a large highlight in the center. I'm going to use some scrap paper right here, and I'm going to use a permanent Sharpie marker just so you can see this. So basically, I'm going to make an oval. Let's make an oval like that. And then I'm going to have basically a half circle for the head. That looks really simple. And then we're going to have our eyes, just like that. You'll make them maybe more even. It really doesn't matter. Just something close. And then we'll have a little beak. That's really all we need to do for this. And then we'll have some little claws down here. And that's it. That's going to be our line drawing. Now for my watercolor painting, I really don't want that line there. So I'm going to use a pencil. And I'm going to do the same idea on watercolor paper. This is a sheet of plastic right here. You can also use a white plate if you want. I'm going to mix my colors right here, and I'm going to use a small brush to start with, and I'm going to go ahead and get the eyes in. I'll use a little indigo, or you could use a black if that's what you have. This is the praying black. Let's go ahead and try that. And why I don't use too much black is that it can overpower a painting, but I'm going to go ahead and get the eyes in right through here. I want to leave a highlight along the top. So let's go ahead and get those in, because the eyes always add the character to our little creatures. There we go. I'm just going right up to the pencil line. I'm a little off there, but that should be okay. What brush do I want to use? I'll use a number 8. This is a 14, this is an 8. So that way I'm able to get some color in here. I'll use maybe a little raw umber or yellow ochre, whatever you have. It's a duller yellow than this yellow than you find in your student set. That's pretty bright. This is a little duller. Maybe take a little bit of that color, bring that in here. I'm just going to dull it down and get color up in here around the eyes. I'm dabbing it here and there. Just like this, dab, dab. I'm allowing some of those brush strokes to dull down. I'm leaving a big white area in the center. I'm going to press my brush down and expand the hair on the tip. I could get more color in there, but I don't want it. So I'm going to use this brush, which is slightly larger. Get clean water in here. And I'm going to touch the edges of my brush stroke like that, so they dissolve. And maybe over here too, let's dissolve them. So we have a nice highlight in the center, which will help our little owl have some shape. Then I'm going to go around the eyes up here. I'm leaving a big space around my eyes, around the pupils, and along the outside, almost right up to the pencil line. Okay, that's good. And I might even take a little bit of my French ultramarine blue to turn it more into a blue-gray, so it's not so dark or black. I want more of a a nice natural color. I could also use a burnt umber, so basically it would be a brown and a blue. I'm allowing some of those little blooms to happen on the surface, and what that means is some areas are wetter than others, and so it creates these little like cauliflower effects. I'm going to go along the outside. Let's see, that brush has quite a bit of water, so I might want to control that a little bit more. So I'll just tap it on my area over here, and let's get some color in here. And I'll just get some in. And just touch a few areas again. And then I'm going to allow this to dry. So this is what we're starting with. Now, if you want to speed up the drying process, you can always use a hair dryer. Or if you want to have some of those really fun blooms and blossoms that happen on here, just leave it alone. Okay, so put your brush down and let it dry. If we want to try to get that downy look, I'm going to take a larger brush. This is the number 20. Get it wet. Let's look at the surface. You can see it's pretty dry, but some areas are still wet. Then I'm going to remove the extra water, go along the edge, and allow some of that color to escape here and there. Not much. I might want to get back my highlight right through here. So I'm going to add a little more water, just like that, and reshape it. Notice how that water escaped through there. That's going to give us that little fuzzy feel. Right through there. Okay, that's not completely dry, and you can see the eyes look a little cockeyed, but that's okay. We're going to take care of that with our paint. I'm going to check it with the back of my hand, and if it's still really cool to the touch, then it's still damp, and I know it is because it felt very wet through here. This is drier. That's drier. So I'm going to use that semi-damp surface and let's see what I can do. Okay, so I'm going to get some blue, mix that in, because I don't want it to be too brown and I don't want it to be blue. I want it to be a nice neutral gray. Okay. I'm going to come in, maybe add a few little dabs here and there. Go around the top. If you see that it's crawling in these areas, that means that the color is still damp. Okay, and I know this area is still wet over here because I did some extra work there. Let's just notice how I'm holding my brush and how I'm making it move here because I don't want it to be so even. I'm going to go on this side. You wouldn't think to add a blue into it, but it makes a nice neutral color. I don't want to overdo it. So I'm going to take the larger brush, remove the extra water, tap it on a towel, and maybe soften the edge so it doesn't take over the painting. That's kind of nice on this side. They're not going to be exactly the same, but it'll show you the technique. So I'm going to move this over to the side and we'll just focus on this one. Okay, I might take that smaller brush and try to add a few little feathers here and there, just by barely touching the surface. That is a funny bird. I mean, the eyes are a little cockeyed, but it doesn't matter. In fact, I think I'll let it dry for just a second. Let's go over here. I'm going to tone down that white a little bit. Let's make that beak stand out. I want a little bit of the detail in here. It's still wet, so it's getting some little crawls. And I want enough water in there so the color can move. And I'm going to go ahead and go around the eye. And I'll touch the edge of a few of these brush strokes. If you make a mistake, just touch the edge of the brush stroke with a damp brush. I'm going to come back into the claws and go over them again. If you notice, that's just one layer. If we do this again, it'll be more effective. And I'm just going to press and lift and let it touch the paper. And there we have a cute little owl. Well, thank you so much for joining me today. I hope you enjoyed this simple little lesson. And if you're interested in seeing more of them as they come up, please go ahead and subscribe to the channel. So until next time, have fun and happy painting.